Hello, everyone. Val with Dragonfly Crystals here with my beautiful co-host for Sisters of the Mystical Tarot. We have Marina, Heart-Centered Tarot.
Hello.
And Shari, Voices from the Swamp.
Bonjour.
And Aley, Alice is not feeling that well, so she'll be with us next time. But, sending her our best so that she'll feel better. Yes. And all of you, thank you for joining us. This is a show where we only take questions from our submitted questions from our post that we do once a week. So if you haven't submitted a question, it won't be any read from the chat here today. So just so you know that. And so we'll start with Marina. What do you have going on your channel? What do you want people to know about?
Well, actually, at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, in a few, no, yes, 5 p.m., 7 p.m., excuse me. Hi.
Get it together. You sound as bad as me.
Yeah. Mountain Standard Time tonight. I will be over on Ramon's channel, Moon Scarab.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And then tomorrow we've got Messages for Lightworkers. We'll be on Val's channel for that.
Yeah.
And then we've got Golden Girls Coffee Clutch. Will be on my channel. And on Friday at 5 p.m., I'm actually going to be over on Sylvia's Colorful Foresight channel.
Oh,
yay.
So yeah, looking forward to that.
She has a really good channel. Y'all need to check her out.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So that's fantastic. Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So everyone go like and subscribe Marina Heart-Centered Tarot, and follow her to all those shows, or if she's simulcasting, you know where to go.
Yes.
So Shari, how about you?
Well, Golden Girls tomorrow night with Marina, since I'm Blanche, the Southern one.
Yes, you are.
Friday, I'm working backstage for Arthur. He's doing a members thing for his members.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, Nathan and I are doing our monthly live stream on my channel at 10:30 a.m., which is like 7 o'clock p.m. his time. So, because he's in Portugal, so he's like on the other side of the planet. And we do once a month on his channel, and we do a recorded show. We usually do a deep dive on something. And then once a month on my channel, and we'll do a live stream. So
nice.
That's Saturday. And of course, the slumber party Saturday night. And starting in April, Ramon will be my co-host every third Saturday of the month for the slumber party. So
very good. Okay.
I even bought him a deck of Rebel cards so he can read naughty cards.
Aww.
He was like, I don't have any cards like that. So I said, don't worry about it. So I went to his Amazon list and bought it and sent it to him. He emailed me and said, I got my own naughty cards.
Nice. That's cute. Well, wonderful. So thank you all for being here with us today, because we know you can be.
How about you, Val? What have you got going on?
Oh, me?
Don't forget about you.
Oh my goodness. Let me see here. I hit my microphone, but let me see. I can't even remember. I know, yes, we have Messages for Lightworkers tomorrow, and I'm hosting. I'm also being interviewed on a show at 1:30 Pacific time. I'll put that in my I'll post it so you'll know where to go for that. And I have an Awakened membership meeting tomorrow. So those of you who are part of the Awakened Dragonfly Circle. And then, I pretty much, that's it for this week. Um, I'm not planning too far in advance. I do have things lined up for April, but rather than getting into that, I'll just leave it at that. And so all of you, thank you so much for joining us today, because I know you could be anywhere. I am Lulu, Joan, Katie and Paul, Linda Bishop, Joyce, Garnet, Denise, Carl, Linda, Lisa. I love all of you for being here. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Artist Liz, Rossi, Patrick, good to have you here. So we're going to talk about how much does your perception of yourself come from the outside world? In other words, are you still that good little girl or good little boy that your family role dictated, or the troublemaker child, or, you know, whatever that might be, etc. Whatever roles you ended up being typecast into, are you still playing a role that society created for you? Or are you uniquely you, unencumbered by society's constraints or your family's ideologies? How free are you to show up as you would like to? No excuses or apologies. So this is a big subject, but even for me, I looked back at Christmas time. You can really tell how far you've come in being your unique self, your authentic self, by getting in front of family. There's no bigger way to show you how far you've come, or how you have places still to address, by getting with your family. And I did that at Christmas time. And of course, I see my family at least 3 times a year. They live in another state, but we talk on the phone. But it's funny, when I did that, when I was there, the divide between where I'm at in my awareness and how I am vibrating, what's interesting to me, is so different energetically, just so different that it's like I'm going, and they're going, It's like, not in a disparaging way, but they're on a energetic, adventurous kind of spirit, kind of energy that is just into different things than I am. I mean, that not to say that's wrong or bad. It's good, but it's at their age bracket. It's whatever they're going through. But I don't seem to connect, for the most part, in that same mom way, energetically. And it's funny, as you get older and you're connecting to your kids who are adults, they start shuffling you into a particular category. And you didn't ask to go there. They're just shuffling you in their mind to some category. I don't know, call it senior, call it whatever. It's like the forgotten person category. And then you might have your feelings hurt by your kids in some way, like I did by my son, just by some small thing. And I'll tell you what that was. We had just walked a long, long way just to get exercise. And we were sitting in a restaurant with our whole family from New York. I mean, we had like 15 people, but all they wanted to do is sit down and order hors d'oeuvres. They didn't want to order dinner, because back home we had the leftovers from dinner. I don't know. It might have been Thanksgiving. I don't remember. But so they ordered some hors d'oeuvres, and there were a lot of people, but they just ordered X amount. And my son was just sitting there, and I saw, something on a plate, and I put it in front of him, a little serving dish of something, just one piece. It may have even just been a slice of pizza. And he looked at me and said, "I don't want that. Put that back." That was his, just like that, in that attitude. And it's like a mother giving her child food. It doesn't matter if he's 50 years old. I'm
Yes.
giving my child food. And my tears, well, I put it back, and my tears welled up in my eyes. My husband was sitting next to me. My son was sitting on that side, and I just couldn't stop the tears. They were just, even though I was taking a breath and going, that was my emotional reaction, and it felt like I was being rejected by my child, a mom giving her child food. That was somewhere inside of me that was still needed to be looked at, where I was still trying to get some kind of approval from him or some kind of connection in that way, like a mom. But, that's not there anymore. It's not the same way anyway at all. So
You're just doing what came natural, which is, here we are, and you don't have anything on your plate here.
Yes.
Mama's going to feed you. Here you go.
Exactly. That's exactly right. But he said to me as a dress down, I don't want to have this now. Other people need to eat. They haven't eaten. Not everyone's taken. And this is his harsh way he's talking to me. And I'm like, and my beautiful husband speaks up and says, your mother's very sensitive,
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. And the truth is, I just explained, he said he wondered why. And he wondered why that was my reaction. And I told him exactly what I just told you all. It felt like, and even everybody's faces at the table, even my teenage grandsons were all like, they felt sorry for me. But this is an example of really, this was pure emotion coming out of me at that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that was something that needed to be healed within me or dissolved, that feeling. Why would I care if he did that? In the sense that he's sitting at a table, he didn't want the food because he thinks everybody else has to eat. Nobody was taking them. It had been quite a while. It had been at least 10 minutes and nobody was going for this one thing I gave him. It was more like a dressing down to me. And like I had been put in a certain category that couldn't, anyway, it was an epiphany. I really didn't put a story around it. I just go, oh, and then I went on with everything. But of course he turned around and said, Mom, I love you, blah, 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 blah. Of course, right then and there, he's telling me. So I think that was just his natural reaction. And that was my
And you know what, Val, I would take that as a compliment because what he was doing was probably exactly what you taught him, which was make sure everyone else is served.
Yeah,
first.
I definitely taught. I mean, he's definitely a generous heart and soul, and he does think about others, and he's very much that way. So in that sense, absolutely, I did a good job.
Yes, you did.
So okay, that was just one way that was a highlight of looking at how I am not standing here in my authenticity. I was authentic in that moment, but it was from a kernel of hurt. And no one can hurt you, by the way. You are the one who perceives what is happening and makes it mean something. So let's just be clear. So I was obviously wanting to feed him and show him my love in that way. Well, apparently I didn't have to use that currency to show him my love. So, okay, I got over that. But am I still playing a role that society dictated? Well, look, I'm not going to go with my in-laws I'm not going to go with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and sit down and talk about metaphysics because that's not their way. Would I hide it from them if they asked me? No, I would share it. Am I going to start a conversation with my neighbors about it? No, I don't even know where they're at with any of that. I'm not going to. I know who's in front of me, and I know who my audience is. You don't want to say things that aren't going to be interesting to someone, because you're not going to waste your breath. Basically, you're not going to waste your energy on something that is not going to be well received. It just wouldn't make any sense, because you, being uniquely you and unencumbered by society's constraints. Look at us. I am old and I'm on YouTube and I have a following and I am speaking my mind and I'm out here doing this. Society says we old people are one step into the old folks' home.
Yeah.
So go to the back room and shut the door and be quiet.
We are already running against what society, yes, exactly, Shari. We're already running against society's idea of who we are by being psychics, mediums, tarot readers. I mean, doing all of this, teaching classes in this subject. So there are things that you catch yourself in these times that you still have something that you need to address that isn't that authentic self of who you are. And it's in those times, especially with family, that you'll notice those things. That's what happened to me. And it's been so long since something like that has happened. It really went, oh, wow.
Yes.
That knocked me back a little.
You told me 40 years ago that I would have been a blonde at 60 and on international airwaves where I had people following me, I would have laughed in your face, and then I would have probably punched you in the face.
Yeah, because here we are. We know what age we are. I'm not going to tell you over and over how old I am, but let's just say I've been around a long time.
Around the block a few times.
Yeah. So we are doing things that are bucking this. We're bucking society. We're bucking the system. We're teaching things that buck the system in that way. Yes. I mean, let's just say it's not society's norm at this time. And here we are doing this. So that's pretty authentic that we can stand up and do this as we are. So Marina, what have you got that is that kind of introspection about?
You reminded me as you began talking that and that this goes back a good number of years ago, where I had my ex was in the military, so we were posted to different parts of Canada, and we were out on the East Coast, and there was a couple that we were friends with, and then we kind of lost touch. They got posted somewhere else and we lost touch. Anyway, here I am back in Calgary. This is probably a good 12, 15 years later. And I'm shopping with my mother. And who do I see sitting down in the little cafe area of the store was this couple. And I thought, oh, this is fabulous. So I went over and I was glad to see them. They were glad to see me. It was fabulous. And we sat down and we started talking. And it dawned on me that nothing had changed with them. The years had gone by, but nothing had changed. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it to kind of verbalize it properly. And so I was explaining to my mother later that, it was as if time stood still, nothing had changed. And she kind of got a little on my case because, well, maybe you're just being judgmental, just because you went to university. And it was like, no, that's got nothing to do with it. It's like I would think that in life we all want to grow, that we should not be the same people that we were 10, 12 years ago, that life would have progressed us to some things. It doesn't mean that when you hold yourself above someone, but it just that there should have been
soul growth. It's moving forward in your soul growth. And in your activities, in your discussions, in your awareness, in your line of thinking, and you didn't see that switch, that change, or that elevation.
Yeah, absolutely. So that
Yeah.
was, it was, in some ways it was disappointing
Yeah.
because I
Because
would have
you're
liked,
vibing and they're
yeah,
vibing and it's not,
yes,
it
yeah,
doesn't match up anymore.
yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
that I find that beautiful when you meet somebody that you haven't seen in a long time. And it's a shock to see where that, you know,
Mhm.
there isn't, that's how far you've elevated your awareness or opened up to
Yeah,
receive higher truth and information, because those who don't might be still gossiping around. They might be,
yeah,
that old same 3D kind of
yeah,
connection to people. And that's just, who wants to be in that anymore?
yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So,
Although I must admit that, I was a lot more attached when I was younger. I was a lot more attached to the titles that society put on me, right? Very, very aware as a young mother that my child be well behaved, he be
yes.
clean, he be polite, all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. Um, and just just the expectations. I
right.
was willing to accept them. And as I got older, I realized I don't have to do that.
Absolutely. And if that you just said that and it dawned on me, I had written this down, but I didn't bring
Yeah.
it here. But that feeling that if somebody asks me who I am, if I'm being interviewed like tomorrow,
Yes.
I don't want to say, oh, I'm a Akashic record reader, I'm a psychic, I'm in this. No, that's not who I am. That's a tool in my belt.
Yes.
And I'm really this God source being that we all are. And that's who I am. And I'm just showing up as I am. And I just
Yes.
really feel like when we go to work and say, I am a VP at the blah, blah, blah company, and that's
Yes.
been our identity for 30 years, then we retire. And then we don't have that identity. I'm not a VP for the blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Who are we then? Well, why
Yes.
not just strip all that away and just say, that is not who you are. You are
Mhm.
a divine source being projecting down into your vehicle. And these are tools for you to use.
Yes.
This is who you are.
Yes.
This is who you are.
Absolutely.
So,
And I will do a little bit of a shameless self-promotion here.
oh yes,
Yes.
yes,
For those of you that are wondering what your authentic self really is,
yes.
I do have a class, and well, I have several, but this one is called Change the Tape. And basically what that teaches you is how to identify the different titles that you have taken on throughout your lifetime, whether they be yours or somebody else's, and you have just accepted them as being part of who you are.
Right.
And they might have been part of who you were at some point in time, but they no longer are. And yet we continue to kind of act in the same way. So, and this is it. It's only a 2-hour course, but you get a good deal of material and kind of soul searching questions so that you can identify what is yours, what is your perception of yourself versus how you judge yourself according to someone else's perception of you and where that is faulty, and then how to change that.
Exactly. And that's, folks, I mean, people have said tremendous things about Marina's classes. So you really want to get in there and get in the weeds with that. Absolutely.
Yes.
Because you will be enlightened.
Yes.
And it will shift you.
Gal and I both know firsthand what it is to take one of Marina's classes, and it's well worth the time, the money, the effort, all of it.
Absolutely. And the first step is identifying those areas.
Yes.
So that you aren't unconsciously stepping into that pattern over and over and over. And once you do that, you won't do it anymore. It makes a shift in you.
Yeah.
So
you just identify the tape that we all default to. And this, please don't think that I'm any better than anyone else, because this is a process that I have to go through myself.
We all do that. We all have
Yes.
to go through all of that. Absolutely.
Exactly. So it's a case of those are what I call them default tapes. That's just when ABC happens, I react with DEF.
Yes.
And you don't always know why you react that way. You just do.
Yeah.
When you take a look at why do I react that way, then you can go back and say,
and then you dismantle it and you go, maybe,
yeah.
Do I really think and feel that way? Do I even have a feeling about it?
Yes, exactly.
So
and you're not conceited, Linda Bishop. That is
I was just going to put her. Yeah.
Yes.
And the first comment is, I am the Linda Bishop. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. There's only one of you, as you are unique as a God source being. And, it is true. You are not conceited. It isn't conceited to say I am. I am is a very special phrasing to claim who you are. I am that I am, because it is saying you are the God source and that spark. So I just want to say one more thing before we go to Shari, and that is that Marina's heartcenteredtarot.com is where you can find and book those classes. Marina's heartcenteredtarot.com. All right.
No.
Yes, and there it is.
Let's
there it is.
There you go.
Sorry. Yeah.
There you go.
Gerald.
That's a Gerald.
Gerald does this.
For the overachievers.
For the overachievers in your life. Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, ladies. That is very kind of you to say.
So before we go, so Shari, watching my parents age has been eye-opening experience in the last few years. Trying to remember the things that I have been taught by my dad brought me to tears in the last couple of days. Yeah, our parents have done a good job to say, don't put your hand on the stove.
It'll burn you.
If you are on the road stranded because you have a flat tire, here's how you change it. That's what my dad taught me. Yes. He taught me these things. So, there are great things. So anyway, it is unfortunately, some people are put older people into a category, like they don't want to hear them anymore, or they're the forgotten, like all the baby boomers now are, in that category. Shari, what can you share about it?
Well, I know laughingly, I was saying earlier, if you had told me 40 years ago that I would have been a blonde naturally at 60 and doing this, I would have laughed in your face, because I never thought or saw that coming. When I was 16, I would have killed to have been a blonde. Who knew I had to turn 60, right? I think my big epiphany came when my husband died.
Oh, yeah.
I was 39, about to turn 40. He was 46, or 45, about to turn 46 when he passed. And so we were still both pretty young,
Yes.
And I wound up literally packing up and running away from home a year later, simply because I had spent my life, I went from being someone's daughter to someone's wife to someone's mother.
Yeah.
And suddenly my mother was doing her own thing. My husband was buried. My son was 18, 19 years old, doing out his own thing. And I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
And everybody around me kept trying to fit me into this little box that they had already painted me in. And it's like, that's not me anymore. And I literally ran 5 states away to figure out who am I and what do I want to do. And I'm almost 64 and I'm still trying to figure that out. But I mean,
it's an ongoing process.
It's an ongoing process. I mean, at the time, I saw it as an act of desperation. It was like, I knew I had to go somewhere where no one knew me before to get that kind of fresh start.
Yes.
And I guess a couple of years after I'd moved to Phoenix, somebody asked me, well, how did you get to Phoenix? What brought you out here? And when I told them, I remember the young lady just sitting there with her jaw on the tabletop. And she's like, that's the bravest thing I've ever heard. And that was the epiphany. It was like, that was desperation. She was like, no. She said, that was pure
That was a
courage.
leap of faith. That was stepping off the cliff.
A leap of
Full
faith.
on the journey, beginning a new journey.
I just didn't.
You didn't frame it that way. You didn't see yourself as this brave, strong woman who came from all that and leapt forward to take on her new life and build it any way you wanted to. Yeah,
exactly. It took, it was a couple of years, like I said, when someone else that I finally shared the story with, and her reaction, and she was like in her 20s,
yeah,
and still lived at home with her parents, was going to school and working part-time. And it just, when she said it, that's when it really struck me.
It was your guides probably talking through her, trying to tell you.
I'm sure, because
what you've been able to accomplish. Look at what you're doing.
And it was about 2 years after that my guides first introduced themselves to me through the painting. And so it's just been a journey of learning as I go since. And then dealing with my mom and her getting so sick and losing her memory. I think that was the saddest thing. Was that she lost part of herself because she couldn't remember anything from the past, didn't know who anybody was. And so that was hard, learning to live through that. And then when she passed, I was in a position where it was like, I've got to reset again because everything has shifted. And it took me a while to kind of reshift. And that's when I fell into this community and just the doors got flung wide open. And I was like, oh, holy moly, I didn't know this is what I was supposed to do. I mean, but I had to go through all of that other heartache to get to the point that I could withstand the doors opening.
Absolutely.
And showing me what was there.
Absolutely.
And it's been baby step after baby step after baby step ever since, learning and absorbing what in a lot of respects comes very naturally, which was odd in the beginning. I was like, why does this feel like I've come home suddenly, and at the same time frustration because I don't know it all yet. And I have to remind myself, nobody knows it all. We're all learning. We're all taking one step at a time.
And that's everything. That's with life. We're all learning. We're all on this journey, and we're all experiencing. But I certainly applaud you, Shari, and having gone through that. And I waited. I knew the same thing that you did. That as I got to my later years, and I was just before I married John, my husband, I said, let's sell our houses and move to Nevada. And because then it's a free, clear energy. You're starting out new. It is that reason why we did that. And I think there's so much validity in that. And even Marina, you moved from one place to another. And that whole shift is a big catalyst for changing your brand new foundation.
Absolutely.
It's pretty,
Absolutely. And it's just, it's the humbleness I feel so much because of the people that Spirit has now brought into my life. To show me, okay, you're not weird. You're not alone. Other people think the same way and feel the same way, have similar abilities. We may all do similar things, but no two people are alike in their gifts. And it took me a while to even come to terms with that. Well, why can't I read like that person? Or why why don't I get that message like somebody? And it just took a little while for it to be, because that's not the message you need to get.
That's right.
Mhm.
And
I've got another message for you to give.
exactly.
And so that
We all come in all different flavors to
Yes.
give whatever.
in sizes and colors and
Yeah,
the
it's
whole shebang, you know. So
we can't measure ourselves up against other people because everyone is unique. We are
exactly.
unique. We've got to experience the beauty of who we are just as we show up. And that is how you move forward and understand that you have gifts
Oh yeah.
to give and share. Absolutely.
And it just, I mean, there are still days when I miss my husband so much. It's
Yeah.
a physical ache. The same with my mom. It's like
Yes.
what I wouldn't give just for one day to sit
Mhm.
down and spend time with him. And then I think, you idiot, you already have ways to sit down and spend time with them. They're
You
right
do.
there.
You do.
You know, I just have to shift my brain
Yeah.
Mhm.
into realizing it. And that was another epiphany that came to me. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
they're already here.
Yeah.
They're
Exactly.
already talking to me.
They never left. Energetically, they're
I
with
just
you.
wasn't listening, you know, and
Yeah.
I didn't know how. And
Yeah.
so that's what's taken me time, is learning how to listen. And as I've learned
Mhm.
how, other things started opening
Yeah.
up, you know.
And
And
Jules Niner sharing, yes, Sherry, I felt so alone for so long. I knew my tribe was out there, though.
exactly.
Yes,
And it
it's
was
exactly
like finding my real family
yeah.
is what it felt like, you know, when I fell into this and met all of y'all and everybody that's in the chat, and all the other readers that I've gotten to know. And
Yeah.
it was just like, where have y'all been all my life, you know?
Yes.
And then Dawn told me, well, they've been growing and preparing for this time, just like I have, because we all bring something different to the table
But we all ended up here together.
together.
How synchronistic is that?
That's fabulous.
Our journeys all coalesced, and here we
Yes.
are.
Yeah.
That's pretty
In two
remarkable.
different countries, spread apart astronomical miles, one from the other.
Everyone in our community includes everyone in the chat,
Yes.
and we're all here together.
Yeah.
I mean, we are all bonded by that same desire to be of service and to move forward. And, you know, it's not a case of, well, you know, we need to physically be in the same room. We need to be able to identify,
Right.
you know, through facial features,
I mean,
who's
who would have
who.
thought 15,
It's
20
just-
years ago that you could sit down and have a face-to-face conversation with somebody on the other side of the planet?
Yes.
You know, someone in New Zealand or Australia or Portugal or England.
Yeah, can you imagine that? I mean, just that alone.
You know, I
Yes.
used to marvel at my great-grandmother, who was born in 1898.
Yeah.
Her beginning was crossing Texas in a covered wagon.
Yes.
And her ending was space flights, space shuttle. And
Can you imagine?
it's
like what?
What must her brain?
That would break your mind.
You would think, but she was on top of it. I mean, she thought it was fabulous. You know, it's
just amazing. That's before electricity.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I think there was electricity in some places, but
not really in the early 1900s.
But she literally remembered crossing Texas in a covered wagon with her dad and her brothers.
Oh, I mean,
and you know, and then to live all the way through the space age, a man on the moon, space shuttles, people going up and coming back down on the same ship. You know, I mean, it's mind-boggling when you think about it. And
with monarchies come and gone in, you know, World War I, World War II, the Industrial Revolution. I mean, there has been so much growth in the world over the last 150 years. It is mind-boggling.
Absolutely.
To think that,
and we have leapt forward exponentially.
Thank you, Jana. Light builder ladies, you are light builders.
You're right, Jana. Exactly. That's what it is. I mean,
yes.
And And
Yeah.
with that comes a responsibility that you try to be the good girl because you want to be responsible.
Yeah.
But
Seeing computers
yeah,
that were so
there's
big they would
computers
fit
that
in a
work for
room.
half of an office.
Now they
You
go in
know, for the servers were so big.
so
Yes.
big. Yeah, whole rooms were dedicated to
This
these.
had
Yes.
10 times the computing power that
Yes.
half a room
Yeah.
server had, you know. I mean,
That is mind-boggling for
it
sure.
is mind-boggling to
And
think
now
about.
we're in another cycle of growth where we are having AI and and CRISPR technology and all these facets of space and science and
Yeah.
physics and health merging into some big quantum field of explosion. So we're
Yeah.
going to see some amazing things in the next 30 years for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And I
Absolutely.
hope I'm here for every bit of it. You know, I'm
Yeah.
ready.
I know. I know. Sherry, I
Yeah.
feel you because I know that there's going to come a time when my physical life here is over. I just don't want it to be too soon because I'm too curious about what happens next.
I totally am with
Thank
you,
you.
Marina and Sherry. I'm like, oh, I'm planning to keep myself healthy so I can be here
Yes.
for 2050. Are you kidding
Yes.
me? I want to see it all.
Yes. I want to be
Exactly.
there.
I
I
mean,
want to be part of it.
I plan on it.
it's like death has never frightened me. I've never been afraid to die.
Yeah.
But as I got older, it was like, I'm not ready to go yet. There's still
Yeah.
so much stuff that's happening. I want to be here for that next movie that comes out, or that next
Yeah.
book that comes out, or the next new thing is invented, you know, whatever it
What
is.
to do? I mean, we
I
came
want to be
through
here
all
for
this.
that.
We want to see the results.
Yes.
Who wouldn't want to? I mean,
Yes.
that is the most exciting thing. Everything that's going on now. This is exciting. Everything
Yeah.
that we're experiencing and going through and being a part of.
And it's
We're not just
just
sitting on the sidelines.
it's not
Our
just moving
community.
forward at a steady pace. It's
Yeah.
giant leaps
Giant leaps.
that keep happening, and
Yeah.
then watching people try to figure out how to deal with that
Yes.
because there aren't laws around it yet, or there
Yeah,
aren't
it's a whole new,
aren't
it's like a
morals
whole new
around it yet.
frontier.
Yeah,
Discovering the new frontier of
exactly.
everything.
I
So
mean, it's the same as Ponce de Leon getting in a ship
it really is.
and going
Yes.
to where he thought was India, and he showed up in America. You know, it's like,
True. Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
it's amazing when
The
you stop.
discoveries, like the pyramid and the stuff underneath it with the Doppler looking at all the,
Yes.
you know, we're on the verge of learning crazy
Yes.
new things about who we really are, folks.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yes.
I am looking forward to that a lot.
And yes, Gemma, the children are smarter. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. I
children are smart.
mentioned the other day that, you know, I mean, I still struggle with certain things on the computer and what I can and cannot do and so on and so forth. And then I see my friend's 7-year-old as she's on her tablet and she's doing different things. And it's like, what are you doing? I'm editing a video.
I know. And I'm like, what? I know. I'm the same here. I'm like, I need a big thing.
Yes.
And it's even hard on an iPad. And I'm like, and they're doing everything on their phone. Like,
I know.
I know, it blows my mind. It's like,
and here's
computer
even
screen.
my
That's a
daughter-in-law
big computer screen to see what the hell I'm looking at, and
Yes.
they're all on their phone. It's like,
yeah, it's my daughter-in-law sends a text in 2 seconds. And I'm like, what? I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
that's the difference between me and my son. He sits there with his thumbs and whips out that message, and he's in his 40s, so it's not like he's a spring chicken either, you know.
now you have to teach thumb typing. I know.
Yes.
I know.
I
They just
mean,
know.
I
These
remember
kids.
when we got our first computer.
I mean, these
Yeah.
kids. Yes, Sherry. These kids in like grades in kindergarten are getting their iPads. What can
Before they even get to school, they got iPads.
it's like they're getting it. They're getting it right away, and they're using them in school. All my grandkids went through school utilizing all the computers and iPads. It just was a normal thing.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
oh, and Jules is saying, I am teaching our youngest to write cursive because they don't teach it anymore. And cursive, yes, cursive is where it flows. So your brain signal is flowing with what you're writing. It is a complete communication. But if you're writing block letters, that's like stop, stop, stop. So you don't have the flow. But if your brain, it's a different kind
If
of
I
brain.
have to sit down and fill something out where I'm writing in cursive,
Yeah.
I literally have to stop and think about it for a minute. What does that look like? Oh, okay. And then I can sit down and write out a check or whatever, because
Really?
it's so rare that I do it.
Oh,
And
I
then
do it all the
spent
time.
15
I
years
never
at the job before I got hurt,
unless they make
where I
you.
had to block print everything.
Oh,
And
I
you
don't. Yeah.
lose that ability to write in cursive when you
Oh,
don't
I
use
write in
it.
cursive all the time, but
I
man,
do more so now, yeah, but there's still times when I have to stop and visualize it to
yeah,
remember what it is I'm writing, because I
yeah.
don't remember what the letters are, you
Oh
know.
my gosh. Well, the kids in Montessori school still teach cursive. Those private
good.
schools
Yes,
still, because you
absolutely.
know what?
And
The brain, the mind, the brain connection to the neural system, you need that pathway where you're just flowing for your creativity, for your ideas to flow, for all of that. That is very important. So
Teacher Barbara says
that is one of the reasons why music and art in school are so important.
yes, it is.
Because through music, and it's been proven that kids who play an instrument do better in math than those who don't.
Absolutely.
Because it brings out the flow of things. And so
they do better in sports when they're playing an instrument, or they're singing, or they're acting in a play, or they're reciting a speech or whatever. You know, when drawing a painting or painting something, they actually are better athletes when their artwork is encouraged, as well as they get smarter because everything's
they're in the flow
in their brain.
Creative flow of the universe coming through. That connection. Well, we actually have one question. It's not really a question, but Joanna Q is saying, can we do protective prayers around Jasmine Crockett, Tish James rather, and Bonnie Willis? I'm not sure why these three ladies, but I can't stop thinking about them.
I would add AOC to that list.
And AOC as well.
Yeah.
Any of our lawmakers that are out there that are for working toward some kind of solution, absolutely. And
they're not afraid to be considered the bad girls because they're stepping outside of the box. They're doing it their way.
Yes.
Which is exactly what we're talking about. Every one of these women are doing it their way because
absolutely
that's their call is justice or law or leadership or teaching, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to step outside the box and follow that path.
So everyone, take a deep breath because we're going to do this. Take a deep breath in. Let it out through your mouth. Another deep breath in. Exhaling through your mouth. And one last deep breath in. And exhaling through your mouth. We call in all the angels of light, all the beings of light that are working with the light workers here on the planet now to send the highest vibration of love and light to all of our lawmakers to protect them and assist them in any way possible as they go forward in their jobs, creating light and creating a pathway to peace. Jasmine Crockett, Tish James, and Bonnie Willis, and more. AOC, all these ladies and all of the lawmakers that are working toward peace and tranquility, toward beauty and connection to all over the planet. And we thank them, and we thank all of the angels of light for coming forward to bring peace and light to these ladies and assistance and peace around the planet. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done.
So it is.
All right.
Beautiful. Thank you, Val.
Thank you.
Thank you, Val. That was wonderful.
That was good. Okay.
It was.
So, it was okay. All right. So here we are. We have 10 minutes left. So, does anyone want to talk about anything else?
We could pull a collective card.
Pull a card for the collective. I love it. Let's do that. Okay.
And I will go with the what we have forgotten deck.
Oh, and I just got this book, folks. Oh my God, it is so beautiful. It is so beautiful in color, and it really talks about Amy Miranda, her journey, and all about the significance of all these cards and more. It is, I got it as a hardcover, and it was 31% off on Amazon. Not that I'm selling it. It was 31% on Amazon. I got it for $21. It's free shipping because I do Amazon Prime. So just so you know.
Well, all day long, Spirit has been talking to me about take these cards out today.
Oh, Dragon Wisdom.
So that's what I'm pulling from.
I love that. Oh my gosh. And you know the card I got? I'm just going to start. I got Imagination. And that is really
perfect.
That is perfect because we just talked about creativity and your imagination and the flow of the universe. What is imagination? It is that flow, that divine flow of the universe, and allowing yourself to have those. When you daydream big.
Big. Absolutely. And I'll show you that I got nurturing. That's what I got.
Ooh.
Nurturing. And I love that light that's coming in, that's shining. Yeah. It again, light workers showing the light. And nurture that, right? Nurture yourself. Know that growth every day is always a path in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And I'll just quickly mention for those of you, if you want to know more about the What We Have Forgotten deck, is Gerald did a fabulous show yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And Val was on the show, and as was Linda De Gonzalez, and they had the author and creator on there on the show discussing it. So that is it's a fabulous way to learn about a deck.
It really is. She's an amazing creative person who her channel of creating is just so amazing. She's a producer too. She's just multifaceted. I was just so impressed with how beautiful her high vibration is.
Yes,
she's just
very much so.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jules.
Thank you. Thank you for Marina for saying that, because that show is definitely worth going to and taking a listen. In fact, I have to watch it again to enjoy it.
Yes.
Even more.
Yes.
So,
I pulled the Air Chalice.
Oh.
And it says, Alba, the queen of all dragons, is the guardian of the four holy chalices, the protector of the four elements, and warden of the holy hall of baptism, where the chalices are kept. And so this is telling us that she's inviting us to partake in a baptism of air. And so that's air. I mean, you're talking, the thought, thinking, and deep discussions, and
it's even breathing,
clearing the mind of anything that's cluttering it. there's just so much that can go with it. It's such a beautiful picture.
It's a beautiful picture. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And I almost grabbed that deck too to read from when there's like, nope, grab the other one.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And
Shari.
when you think, you start to consider other people, and you go from thinking about me to thinking about we.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately where we want to go.
Is right. That's exactly right. That's a perfect description of our kind of natural inclination, the soul to move toward doing things of service.
Yes.
And we move out of ego, which is the me,
Yes.
me, and we move into our soul, which is doing things of service. And that's, we feel the sweet spot where you feel like you're vibing, you're doing your thing that you were meant to do, when you can help others. And helping others also, just so you know, you can go to Marina and book a reading at marinasheartcentertarot.com, because Marina's readings are fabulous. And also Shari does readings as well. And I have to sign up for one of Shari's readings.
That's right. I haven't read for you yet.
Shari is excellent.
Just email me at swampvoices@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if any of you need extra, help with anything coming up, or to understand the energies that are flowing, either one of these ladies or both of them.
And Val.
And Val, don't forget.
But in a Akashic reading, it will change your life.
Yes.
So thank you, guys. So don't forget, you can sign up and take classes, marinasheartcentertarot.com. And Shari, do you have any classes that you're?
No, but I'm getting ready to attend a Lenormand class with Nate. He's getting ready to teach a Lenormand class. And he emailed me and said, "I'm starting this class. You have to take it."
Oh,
said,
okay. Maybe once you take that, you can teach Lenormand, a class for all of us.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's really good at it, and I figure who better to learn from than somebody that's been doing it for decades.
Absolutely, and we'll look forward to that class, because I'll be taking it.
Yep. So
from you when you do it.
Yeah, there you go.
So learn well. So,
plan on it.
Okay. Everyone, thank you so much for having been with us during this beautiful show. And we appreciate your energy. We know you could be anywhere. So thank you for being with us, because your energy is so important. And
we're talking about make us feel old. Look what Lisa Alva put.
I appreciate. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate. And thank you.
I started school with a slate and
an abacus.
Oh yeah, exactly, Lisa. Oh my goodness.
You were like, what the hell is that?
Oh my goodness. Funny.
Yes.
Well,
all right.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Lovely people.
Bye, everybody.
See you later.
Bye-bye.